We're ranking the top 30 running backs today for week 1 for fantasy football. We're covering the matchups. We're looking at the advanced analytics. We're looking at projections. It's all right here. It's free. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. A new thing we're doing this year, we're ranking players, running backs, wide receivers, whatever else comes our way. We're going deeper than anybody else on the waiver wire. We're covering the waiver wire every day with a big batch of players to help you find who you want and get confirmation bias. On top of that, we will have videos out to help you set lineups. The must-start series, everybody likes that. That's a signature of the channel as we deep dive all the matchups for the week, and we talk about every single player. And then on top of that, I'm going to have battle videos for start sits. Click that button. Stop missing out. But we are starting off today with our first running back as we're ranking 1 through 30. Let me know if you like the rankings because that encourages me to keep doing it. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop some comments, good, bad, ugly. I just want it all. First running back today. First rankings of the year. Boom, Bijan Robinson, number 1. We're looking at the matchup against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 47.5 over under here. Vegas is saying it's going to be high scoring. I don't care if it's the over or under with these. I want the implied point total. That's what I'm going to be looking at with all these matchups going forward. Implied point total is saying it's going to be high scoring. That being said, I'm interested in this matchup. The ball should be flying. I'm interested to see how Michael Penix deals out the ball. Last year, Tampa Bay, pretty decent against the run. 10.3 PPR fantasy points per game on average last 3 weeks of the season. On par for the season, though, they're a little less than league average. Bijan against them, 22 points in week 8, 10.7 in week 5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's number 1 on Fantasy Pros, projected score of 19.73 points on Sleeper. I think he's just safe. I think he's going to get work in the passing game. You drafted him the first running back off the board. I think he's just safe. I think this is like just something you just throw out there. I have number 1. Number 2, though, Jahmyr Gibbs. Fantasy Pros has him at 4. I have him at 2. This is a matchup with a high over-under, 47.5. A higher implied point total means points are going to be scored, which means more opportunities for players to score fantasy points. So Gibbs and Monty, pay attention to him. Gibbs last year, 14.6. Monty scored 19.4. Both those running backs could get it in this matchup. I expect the ball to be moving. I expect this to be a fun game. That's why I got him at 2 for the potential upside. The downside shouldn't be too bad. Like, if it's a Monty game, he should get you around 10-ish, 12-ish. So I'm cool with that. You're looking at what the Packers did last year against the run. They got Micah Parsons in there. All these teams got some changes. But last year, the last 3, they're a little less than league average. They're around league average, though, for the season. You're looking at this matchup, though. I'm just expecting the ball to be flying. I'm expecting points to be scored. And I want players in that matchup. Number 3 off the board here is Saquon Barkley. You got the Cowboys. The Cowboys might get road dogged in this matchup. Micah Parsons gone. I do not know how this team is feeling going into this matchup. They have a very high over-under, 47.5. Vegas is setting, we're using DraftKings if you haven't noticed, but a 47.5 over-under. Vegas is saying, hey, a lot of these games are going to be high over-unders. I would not be surprised if this one hits the under pretty hard. I would not be surprised because the Eagles' defense, we got to see what's up with the offensive line as we get closer to game day here. If Guyton's in or out, I need to pay attention to that. But it does not really matter much to me when it comes to Saquon Barkley. I think they're going to road dog the Cowboys. I think Barkley's going to get a lot of touches. I think he's going to be featured against the Cowboys. Barkley scored 8.8 and 18.9. He's just going to get a lot of work, a lot of opportunities. The Dallas Cowboys defense just got hit without Parsons. I do see them being a little bit sneakier with some of their players coming up, but Parsons is gone. He's gone. That's going to be a huge impact. I look for this game to be in the fourth quarter. The announcers are kind of like talking a little bit slower and talking about how the Cowboys are in for a rough season. We're watching the Eagles. They're looking good. We're looking at Saquon Barkley. As long as he doesn't get hurt, I think he's going to be good week in and week out. Christian McCaffrey, number 4. Fantasy Pros has him at 2. Projected score 20 points in this game by Sleeper. we got a good matchup here against Seattle. Last 3 weeks of the season, they were killing it against the run on the season. They were around league average. But honestly, Christian McCaffrey is going to get a lot of work in the passing game. You just look at what they got at wide receiver right now. You got Pearsall and Jennings, and you got Kittle. He's going to get a lot of work in the passing game. He's going to get a lot of opportunities. And you're looking at the over-under here at 43.5. I expect a lot of clock ran in this game. I expect Seattle to use Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. That's going to cut up some clock. Short passes the cup. Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be the target leader or potentially target leader for Seattle. His ADOT's going to be 10 or less. I expect this game to run quick. 43.5 over under with the implied point total. That makes sense when you think about in Vegas' shoes. I could definitely see the over hitting if we can get splash plays by the wide receivers and maybe some big runs by Kenneth Walker on the other end, but Christian McCaffrey splashing as well. I got him a little bit lower in the rankings, but it doesn't matter when you're this high up. It's just the workload, catching balls out of the backfield. Devin Achane, questionable coming in this game, but it looks like he's going to play. Another 47.5 over under. That's 4 out of 5 games at the top here. And I'm chasing the top game scripts. This is a top game script here. I could definitely see this game scoring points and being very weird. I mean, just look at the Dolphins. There's nothing about them that's not weird when you think about them over the last couple years. And then you're looking at Daniel Jones and you're looking at the Colts. I think these two teams can go back and forth. I think Achane's actually in a great matchup. Fantasy Pros has them at 7, and that is an average ranking of a bunch of rankers who are not getting paid to rank but are trying to fight to be the best of nothing. But this is a good matchup for him to explode, to get work in the passing game, especially if Danny Dimes can cook with this plethora of talent that they have. That being said, you're looking at what the Colts did last year, and they were league average down the board, and that's good for Devin Achane. They're not going to stuff him too bad, and there's a lot of potential here when you look at the matchup here. And he's projected to score 20. I think he's better than what the rankings suggest. I think this is a good matchup. I think he's going to be healthy. He's going to get work in the passing game. I'd be on the lookout for Ollie Gordon and his workload too around the red zone. 6 is Derrick Henry. I'm not going to sleep on Derrick Henry. I know you look at the Bills. You look at what they could potentially do on defense. On the season, they're worse than league average against the run last year. Last 3 weeks, they were coming in line. Last 5 weeks, they're around league average. But you look at the over-under here, 50.5. I chase that. I would chase that. That's an implied point total. Vegas does not want to be too high or too low. They want to be in the middle, and they want that money to spread around. They want to be right in the middle, as close to accurate as possible. They just want to imply that, hey, this is a high-scoring game here. Definitely can see that happening. And if it is a back-and-forth game between the Ravens and Bills, that means you're seeing the Ravens using a lot of Derrick Henry. He could splash with a big run. I like Derrick Henry this week. I think he's a stud, and we know he's a stud in matchups like these, so that's high scoring. I don't understand why you're going to rank him 9 like Fantasy Pros has. Bucky Irving against the Falcons. I'm lower a little bit by 1 spot than Fantasy Pros. I think there's potential here. There's also potential that this game could run bad. But honestly, when you're looking at this, Falcons are around league average. Really depends on what weeks you're looking at. Last 5, they're a little bit worse than league average. Last 3, they were better than league average. They're right around it on the season. He's projected to score around 19 fantasy points. I think he's going to get a lot of work in the passing game. I think they're going to be moving in and around these running backs. I think he got some potential in this game. This game script could go his way. I could definitely see them having to go other avenues too, and the offense being a little bit slower. Changes in coaching staff, changes in offensive line through the offseason. That could be an impact here. I can definitely see an impact if Michael Penix comes out slow, throwing picks. Maybe that could slow down the game. Maybe hit the under on that one. That is something that could impact Bucky Irving. Jonathan Taylor. I'm right there with consensus, but I feel like I'm higher than what these people feel. I'm actually very high on Jonathan Taylor. My words mean more than the rankings. Let's just say that. I'm very high on Jonathan Taylor. I'm very high on this Dolphins-Colts game. I'm high on it because I believe it's going to be a weird game that's back and forth, fairly high scoring. I think you're going to get a lot of fantasy producers in this Dolphins-Colts game. Jonathan Taylor's going to get a lot of work. At the end of the week, we're going to see him be one of the top guys in opportunity share, opportunities and targets, touches out of the backfield. Not really worried about the defense-offense matchup. I think he's going to get work. I think he's going to get checkdowns. Daniel Jones, when he was firing away with the Giants, he was targeting the running backs on 20% of his targets. He had Saquon Barkley then, but Jonathan Taylor's got that speed too when he's in the open field. He may just go back to that. Chase Brown, I am low on him. I am low. Even though we got a 47.5 over-under here with the Browns, Browns defense is nasty. And they are built around that defense with Flacco trying not to turn over the ball. They're going to try and slow down this game. That is what they're going to try and do. That defense is going to put on a lot of pressure. You're going to see that in this game. And the Browns are going to try and make this a very ugly matchup. I could definitely see Chase Brown doing one of two things. Going blast off, scoring a ton of fantasy points, or busting. I don't think there's going to be anything in the middle. I don't think he's going to score you like 10, 11, 12 and make you feel good going to bed. I think it's going to be either 7.3 like in week 7, or you're going to get around 15 plus. I don't think there's going to be anything in the middle. That's why I'm down on him a little bit, because if the Browns can do what they want to do, they will slow down this game. They will make it ugly. It'll be a game where we're middle of this game, halftime, third quarter. We're like, man, when's something going to happen? What's going to happen with these players? That's what we're looking at. Now, if you're thinking about on the Browns side, they're trying to control the clock. They're trying not to turn over the ball. If they do not turn over the ball, Flacco doesn't throw picks, and that defense does what it's supposed to do. They added some players to that defense this year. I could definitely see that happening. Josh Jacobs. You're looking at 47.5 over-under here. Packers-Lions. We talked about this matchup with Gibbs. I expect the ball to be flying. I expect the Packers to be moving the football. I expect Josh Jacobs to get into the red zone. I expect Josh Jacobs to be doing big things. I think we got 20-point potential here, 20-plus points. I think the odds of bottoming out here is very low. I think he's very safe. I think we're going to get good work in the offense. I think both offenses are going to be moving in this game. Kyren Williams against the Texans, 43.5 over-under. And I think part of that over-under is Matthew Stafford and people wondering what's going to be up with him. I think the ball's going to be flying. I think we might hit the over on this one if you want to bet. I'm not a bettor, but if I'm looking at this matchup and I'm looking at all the pieces here and how these teams are built, like the Texans aren't going to live on Nick Chubb. They're going to be throwing it. They're going to be hossing it out there. And I think the Rams are going to be doing it too with Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams is going to be out there nonstop again. You're looking at the Houston defense, roughly around league average. They were a little bit better than that on the whole season, last few weeks of the year, injuries and everything included. They're around league average, but you're looking at an offense here that can be very, very potent. Matthew Stafford back. He's got his weapons there. Kyren Williams ain't leaving the field. Ashton Jeanty in his debut against the Patriots on the road. Rookie on his first game against the Patriots. Over-under listed at 43.5. You're looking at two rookies in this game with him and Hendo. You're looking at Drake May. You're looking at Geno Smith. Vegas just does not know what to do with this game, honestly. Especially with Geno, the changes of the coaching staff with the Raiders. They could run it a lot and be fast-paced. Ashton Jeanty could get a lot of touches and really road dog the Patriots in this game. You're looking at Chip Kelly. This could be where I'm wrong and I should be around the top 10. But I'm at 12. It's safe. It's fair. You're starting him. But you're looking at the last 3 weeks, 5 weeks season. They're worse than league average against the run. So even if they're better, they get to average. So they got potential here. So you're looking at Ashton Jeanty. I expect him to get a lot of work this week. 13, Kenneth Walker. They have him at 15. Projected to score 13. He's practicing. I think against the Niners here, I think they're going to try and run the ball. And I think him and Charbonnet is going to get touches. I think a lot of people are going to sleep on Kenneth Walker. But he's going to get work in the passing game. He's going to get those ancillary targets. And on top of that, all he needs is a couple breakaways and that's it. And he has the potential to do so. They're going to try and spread it out in the run game. You're looking at what the Niners did against the run last year. You're looking at 43.5 over-under. And this game script could be very slow or very fast. As in, there's a chance they kill it with the over or they kill it on the under. Now, that doesn't give you anything for betting advice, but I'm not here for that. I'm here to project fantasy points. Like, how that breaks is Christian McCaffrey looks healthy, looks good, and you get a couple breakaway runs on the other side. Kenneth Walker, and you're able to convert a few passing attempts, and this game script could blow open. But if that doesn't happen, then it could be ugly. Kenneth Walker could surprise you this week. 14, James Conner, he's safe. You're also looking at Rattler at quarterback for the Saints. If he runs bad, James Conner could be just getting touches late in the game, just killing it, getting this win for the Cardinals. That could potentially happen. He's safe for touches. He's safe for 10, 11, 12. That's what I'm looking at in this matchup. 43.5 over under. It's either 47.5 or 43.5 here on DraftKings. If you're looking at that, we had 1 in a 50 so far. Breece Hall, 38.5 over under. They're definitely saying, considering they've been consistent at 47.5, 43.5, that there's not going to be much going on in this game. And the Steelers, go look at my Jalen Warren video, are going to be very slow with pace of play. We definitely know that. Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers. You're coming back looking at the Jets. They got Justin Fields. They're going to run it with him. They're definitely going to be using these running backs. I think Breece Hall's going to run the ball a lot, though. I think when they got to throw it, they're going to be looking at Breece Hall. They're not going to be connecting huge downfield. This is going to be an ugly game. It's going to go back and forth. It'll be like 14-7 as we're in the third quarter. We're watching Aaron Rodgers just be slow, running clock. Converting, though, being efficient, but not fun. They're going to try and run the ball a lot. The Jets are, because you can't pass it 30 times with Justin Fields. And when you do, for those 20-some pass attempts, a lot of them are going to go to the running backs. Not an advantageous situation here. The Steelers are better than league average against the run. That's something to pay attention to. Not an optimal matchup, but I think the touches and breakaway potential for Breece Hall has me a little bit higher than Fantasy Pros. James Cook, I feel like I'm sleeping on him, but I'm at least higher than Fantasy Pros. This is a great matchup. While I look at this, I think I might put him ahead of Breece Hall. My words are more than the rankings, like I always say, because I'm going to change throughout the week. 50.5 over under. I like this matchup. Vegas likes this matchup. Like, say you hit the under and it's like 46. That's still a high-scoring game. Think about it in those terms. I don't care if it hits the over-under. I just want it to be high-scoring so these guys can have a chance to score fantasy points. However, nasty defense against the run. That's why he's not ranked super high. There's potential through ancillary points being scored in this game. Crosses the goal line. Gets some extra work in the passing game. There's potential he goes off. Projected scored 15 by Sleeper. Matchup-wise, he could be sneaky, even though the matchup against the run isn't that great due to firepower in this game. Alvin Kamara, it's about Rattler. Rattler is a weird quarterback because he'll just look like he's the next Patrick Mahomes for a few plays and just go off. And he could string it for a few games. And then the wheels come off, like we saw at Oklahoma. Like, that one season, he looked like he was going to be the next great quarterback, and then the wheels came off. Really derailed his career. And you look at it, it kind of happened that way last year. He's playing with a lot of injuries. Everybody was banged up. I don't know if he's going to push it to Alvin Kamara in the flat. He might just try and play hero ball. And if that happens, I'm going to be scared. Are they going to be in a lot of 3-and-outs? Is this offense going to struggle? Are they going to exceed expectations? Rattler could do all those. He is such a huge wild card. You do not know what you're going to get. You got the Forrest Gump of quarterbacks right now, pretty much. That's what we're looking at. On paper, you're just looking defense. You're looking at offense, everything. Alvin Kamara should be all right. He's safe. You're still starting him. 43.5 over under. Vegas saying, hey, we don't know what to think about this game either. Chuba Hubbard. We got a 46.5 over under. So the matchup's so-so. Should be all right. I think the Panthers are going to be better than expected, even with the hits at wide receiver. With the hits at wide receiver, Chuba's going to get that work. You're looking at Rico Dowdle as the 1B. They've always wanted a 1B. It's just Miles Sanders sucks so bad. He was that bad of a running back. Sorry, Cowboys fans. You're in for a long year. But when I'm looking at Chuba, he's going to be reliable with touches, opportunities. You're looking at Jacksonville, probably going to be like a round or a little bit worse than league average, covering the run. 46.5 over under. I look for T-Mac to get going in this game. Ironically, we got T-Mac versus Travis Hunter here. I think T-Mac's going to help out the run game a little bit. You got to keep things peeled back. I think they're going to target T-Mac a lot. I think Chuba's got some opportunity. Isiah Pacheco. I guess I'm very high on him. And I don't understand why everybody else isn't for the week. 45.5 over under. You got the Chargers in this matchup. Kareem Hunt, week 4, scored 10 points. Pacheco was hurt last year and coming back from being hurt. He had to ramp up. It is a gamble from that, considering what we saw during the ramp-up last year. Chargers are good against the run. This is a game that could break open a little bit. Chiefs could be up, though. And if they're up, they're going to be running it. And they're very effective moving the chains. They're not a fast-paced team because they're so efficient. But with them being efficient every drive, and with what we're looking at here with the Chargers, 45.5 over under, Vegas saying it could be all right. I'm looking at that saying, why not Pacheco? Aaron Jones, I think he's going to be sneaky. I think everybody's down on Aaron Jones to start the season like they are every year, and then he just comes back and starts making plays. We got the Bears here. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup, a lot of unknown. Different coaching staff for the Bears, some changes with the Bears, J.J. McCarthy with the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy's first game, no Jordan Addison. I think Aaron Jones could be a sneaky play. I think he'd be a little bit cheaper in DFS, considering they got him ranked 22nd. Project scored 13.29. I think we have a chance to break that. I think if J.J. McCarthy's moving the ball, Aaron Jones has potential to score. That's something to look at. David Montgomery, 21. And I like this matchup for the Packers-Lions here. I think it's going to boost some fantasy producers. I think Monty can outscore this ranking too, and Fantasy Pros has him at 25. But all it takes is a couple red zone touches, and we're outscoring a lot of these guys ranked ahead of them. And we're got a game here where we know we're going to catch some fire here, that guys are going to score some fantasy points. I'm in on that, and I'm looking for the Lions to get it done on the ground in this game. DeAndre Swift at 22 right now. We got him versus the Vikings. He's going to catch some passes out of the backfield. I just see that happening. He's going to have some moments this season. I think we're looking at the Vikings. If something happens and McCarthy's not it, or if he's rough around the edges in his first start here, Bears might be up. But this could be a rough game in a good way for fantasy football as well. And if that happens, DeAndre Swift might be sneaky. Projected score 12.4. There is a reality that gets you around 9. He did that twice against the Vikings last year. There's also reality. We catch a few balls, we get the ball in space, and we can be electric. Travis Etienne, I might be too low on him. Actually, I'm a lot higher than Fantasy Pros. Projected score 10. Might be sharing too many touches as they bring in and out these running backs. But we got the Panthers D here. They allowed 30.2 fantasy points per game to running backs last year in PPR. They got blew up, allowing double digits every game last year. Even if they're better, they can only be so much better. So I can definitely see this game breaking open and some of these running backs doing something. He should really technically be in the top 20. But a lot of you guys ain't going to start him with how late you drafted him as well. But he's in a good matchup. Same with Tank. And you might see a little toot-toot in there if something happens. Tyrone Tracy's in a matchup here where it could break open. We got Russ here. He's going to create a new dynamic where Vegas isn't paying attention to that. I could definitely see this game hitting the over, but it's strategically at 45.5 just in case that dynamic of Russ doesn't really hit. You also got Jaden Daniels in that offense for the Commanders. Terry McLaurin is back. I think Tracy has a lot of potential. He showed that last year, or the Giants' run game did. Singletary 16.5, 7.9. Tracy scored week 9. Washington, a little worse than league average last 3 games. But on the season, they're right at league average. I just see this game script breaking open and Tyrone Tracy being a cheap guy that breaks open for you in fantasy. Hendo, first game. Slower game script, more than likely. We got to see if he gets work in the passing game. I could definitely see him going off for 20. I could definitely see us watching this box score and wondering where he's at. First game of the year, running backs need time to ramp up. I'm a little bit conservative with him, but he's also startable for me. Omarion Hampton, he's got the Chiefs. He's got the Chiefs. But we're getting this game out of the way first week of the season. That's the great part. Projected to score 15. He could volume his way into okay production. He could cross the goal line. I do not expect him to take touch after touch and be dynamic, though. I'm not expecting that. It could be ugly. It could be okay. But I'm not expecting him to take touch after touch and be a dynamic. He could be good in fantasy if he crosses the goal line twice, though. Tony Pollard, matchup's not good. We got the Broncos. The Broncos' defense is only getting better. The Broncos themselves are only getting better. I think Tony Pollard could really get a lot of work and get enough work to be okay. I look for this game script to be met. I look for Cam Ward to have a tough time against the Broncos. I look for this entire offense to struggle here. RJ Harvey, first game, rookie ramp up. They might be up on the Titans, and I might be too low. He might score here. He might get more touches than expected. They might be up in the fourth quarter, and he starts getting work. He might start getting work and start getting ramped up here as the Broncos road dog the Titans here. You got an 8.5 spread. You're seeing that. RJ Harvey could smash for you this week. He's startable but risky due to rookie ramp-ups. Austin Eckler could be a sneaky play. I don't have Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt in here yet. If you want to throw him in and we get that tweet Sunday morning or whatever that he's actually the starter, go ahead. Listed fourth on the depth chart right now. It's unofficial. It doesn't matter. Austin Eckler, sneaky. He's safe. He's good in the passing game. This is a game script that's good for a satellite running back like this who catches balls out of backfield because it can blow wide open. Javonte Williams because he's getting touches, but against that Eagles defense, we do not know what we're going to get out of him. He was not efficient with the Broncos. Had some good runs in training camp, but some of those were a little bit iffy because it wasn't like the defense was going 100%. The offensive line is a big question. They could get mauled in this game. Dallas could get mauled in this game. They may have to throw it a lot in the third quarter. Javonte Williams is going to get touches, could cross the goal line, could be better than advertised. Shade higher, but not enough. And I do not have Jerome Ford or the Browns running backs not listed in this game. If you want to throw them in at 30, you can go ahead. So don't say I forgot about them. I'm stopping at 30, and that's why. But one of those running backs have to do something. Maybe one crosses the goal line, and they can get you better results. I did not forget about the Browns running backs. Just because someone's not pictured doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about them. I will sneak players in there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.